This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
Hello, this is Jason Rigby with the Albuquerque Business Podcast, and I have Garrett. I'm going to do this, a Hungarian name we got here. So is it Takach?
Takach, yep. No,
I nailed it.
You got it.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
That's awesome.
That's perfect. So I have a, would you call yourself, like, did they say they're ninja warriors?
Ninja Warriors? Yeah.
Yeah. Because you were on the TV show that I watch, especially
Right.
late at night. Everybody,
Yes.
I think everybody watches Ninja Warrior.
Yep,
And
American
it's always
Ninja Warrior.
is it like in Vegas? Is like the main ones always in Vegas? Or?
Yeah, so the main one, the finals, is always in Las Vegas. And then there's other qualifying rounds in other cities. just
Right.
kind of around the nation.
And so it can go anywhere from, what cities did you compete in when
So
you were on?
I was on season 9 and season 10. Season 9, I competed in Denver.
Right.
And season 10 was Dallas.
Oh, Dallas?
Yep.
Like, yeah, so that wasn't that far from here then, being in
No,
Albuquerque.
it wasn't too far. Both of them are about the same.
About the same
Yeah.
distance. Yeah, that
Yeah.
way. Yeah, one of the things that I noticed when I watched it is the amount of, like, is there almost like luck with it?
Yeah, I think there is an element of luck to it. You know, there's just things like if the person that goes before you falls and gets something wet, and then it just depends on how well they're actually gonna clean it off. And you know, they do a pretty good job for the most part. But yeah, there's
But
things
so
like
you
that
could slip, and then
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You
And
could
then
slip
are
on
they have that
something.
wheel thing?
Yeah.
Or what's the one where you go, because we're going to get into business because you have a ninja gym and all that. We're sitting in it right now. If people are listening to this on the audio side, so you have to go to the video side and look at it. But what's the thing that they have to like start off to the very, and they have to kind of like, is it at the beginning or in the middle where they have to like jump and then kind of go straight up a wall?
Yeah, so the warped wall,
Yes.
I think is what that
Yes,
one is.
yeah.
We've got.
And sometimes
a
people
couple
can't
in
make
here.
it, yeah.
And it is tough. And we've got a couple warped walls here, but yeah, that one is at the end of the city qualifying,
Right.
And it's kind of in the middle of the city finals.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's usually about a 14-foot warped wall in the Las
Right.
Vegas finals as well.
So is it something like where it causes like fatigue? And so you can't make it up there? What, like, people will try like 2 or 3 times?
If the course leading up to that point causes fatigue, it could be hard to be explosive enough to be able to get up to the top.
right,
That
right.
obstacle itself probably isn't one that's going to take a whole lot out of you
Right.
and like really fatigue you, but it just requires so much power. It's a really explosive obstacle. So if you're fatigued getting up to that point, then it's
Right.
going to be hard to put in the explosiveness that it would
Oh,
really
right.
take
No.
to get
Yeah,
up
no,
there,
that makes
you know?
sense. And so whenever you go to these events, it's, and you were telling me this off the air, but it's interesting the amount of people that apply.
Yeah.
So you said how many?
So when my first season 9, I heard that somewhere between 500,000 and 600,000 people applied. And there's going to be about 400 people total
That are going to
is
compete.
what I heard that are going to compete. Yeah.
So out of 500,000 people, 500,000 people, there's only 400 that are picked.
Right.
Then out of those 400, do all 400 go on TV?
No. It out of those 400, there's probably going to be, there's 100 people in each qualifying city.
Right.
And out of those 100 people, there's probably going to be 30, 35 or so that are going to get featured.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So have you ever been featured?
I've not been featured.
But you've been- have you been on
catch little
TV?
glimpses of
Oh,
me.
okay,
here and
cool,
there.
yeah.
I've not really been featured. Season 9, I fell on an obstacle called the bouncing spider.
Right.
And my whole thing with training and with competing, I'm on Ninja Warrior. I'm the hero of autism, and that goes all the way back to growing up. My younger brother with having been diagnosed with autism.
Right,
and the
right.
work that we do here for kids with autism,
Right.
and everything. But so my whole thing was, back home at the gym, we teach that practice, perseverance, and determination, you can overcome any challenge that you want to. So I want to come
and so
back.
you being the so you're like the ninja for autism,
Yes.
and that was with your brother.
Yep. Yeah. That all started with my brother. So growing up with my younger brother, Tyler, he was diagnosed with autism. So growing up with him gave me just a lot of love and understanding and appreciation and I think just a passion for helping kids with disabilities learn and understand how to overcome those things and not be held back from what they're really capable of by, by the diagnosis, by what anyone else says that they would be limited to.
Right. And do you transfer that here? Because you have a gym here in Albuquerque. Do you transfer that same thought process when you're training, because I know you have a kids programs and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, we do. So in the kids program, literal physical obstacles like we have here in the gym are a really good way of teaching kids how to overcome challenges in life.
Right.
Because we can say, your first time in, you may not get all the way up the warped wall. But that's all right. But you can practice perseverance and determination. You can conquer that obstacle. And then same thing, say a subject in school starts to get hard.
Right.
You're not going to give up on it.
Right.
Something, right?
Exactly.
Well, you couldn't get up the wall your first day in, but you're not going to give up on this either. Practice, perseverance, and determination. You can overcome this and conquer this, be grown into more of who you're really meant to be.
I really like that, the practice, perseverance, because when you look at, like for me, whenever I look at entrepreneurship or business, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit with you, if that's fine.
Sure.
I know, you were 17?
I was 17 when we were getting the idea, and my wife and I, she was my girlfriend at the time, she's my wife now. So we were getting the idea for this.
Right.
And we were just kind of realizing that, most people just haven't made fitness work for them before. The way that it works with most people isn't where they start a fitness routine and they complete it and achieve the outcome that they want to achieve.
Right.
That's a really uncommon outcome. And it's attempted by a lot of people but that's still a fairly uncommon outcome. So we really started looking at that. We were both personal trainers and going into the fitness industry.
And you guys were 17 at the time.
We were both 17.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Because how old are you now?
I'm 23.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So because you look young. So I was like, I don't know, but I've seen like people that are, in really good shape and they can be 35 and they look like they're 20, so.
Right.
Yeah. So 17. So you and your girlfriend at the time, personal
Jessica.
trainers.
Yep.
And then you guys go straight into, we're going to build a ninja park? Or?
Yeah. So right out of high school,
actually,
we really just kind of launched into this endeavor. And when we were seniors in high school, she was studying, she was becoming certified as a personal trainer. I got certified. I started working as a personal trainer at just a really kind of just conventional club-like gym here in town. And I had a passion for fitness, but that's where I was noticing that, being in a gym is a chore for most people. It's really similar to like, well, it's Sunday afternoon, but I got to go get the oil changed or something. And it's like, I don't really want to, but I know that if I don't, then the car's going to break down.
Right.
And that's going to be a lot more expensive and a lot more of a headache than just going and getting this chore done.
Exactly.
Right. And we're saying, well, something as important as a person's health and quality of life shouldn't be chore-like. I think if it is chore-like, we're missing something and we're doing something wrong. And that's how the whole idea of taking what we're passionate about obstacle fitness, and making it into something that can be available for everyone to do.
So it becomes fun instead of like sitting there saying, okay, I got to do these many squats, these many bench presses, and I got to go to the gym 5 days a week, get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, because that approach really grinds against human nature.
Right.
And human nature is kind of just like, it's a path of least resistance kind of thing. And that's the truth of how we operate. That's true of the body as well.
Right.
But yeah, things that just grind against human nature are really hard to form habits in. And a person's health is about the habits that they have. It's about what you do habitually daily that are going to form the overall outcomes of your life. But if you're doing something that that you can stay engaged in, that is fun, and that keeps you motivated, then you can go a long way with that, and you can achieve a lot of goals with that.
Right.
And the number one reason that any goal goes unachieved is just simply loss of motivation, because it's easy to do what you feel like doing.
Right.
And motivation is something that's fueled by emotion. and emotions are going to come and go. Emotions are determined by what kind of day you had.
Right.
So if you get to the end of the day and you have your workout scheduled, but it was a rough day, well, maybe going to the gym and being social and smiling and talking to people and exercising and putting yourself through some strenuous activity, that's probably the last thing you feel like doing.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not feeling a whole lot of motivation. You're not feeling the same kind of motivation you felt when you set that goal, right? The first day that you set the goal, right? So consistency in the behavior gets lost and the habit doesn't get formed and the goal goes unachieved.
Yeah. And I think with what I see with people that I talk to that are fitness minded is it's that habit part that they don't, they'll have a gym membership.
Yeah.
They have it on their keychain or whatever, but they're not going consistently, where even if you didn't, like for me, if I can get 30 minutes in every day, I know I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need to do the 2 hours, because if I do the 2 hours, I'm only going to go once or twice a week. And then, where my body should be. And basically what you're saying is have fun and get your body moving. Because I would think our bodies are designed to do the things that I'm looking around right now, and there's all kind of obstacles. And we're in a ninja park. So everything that's here is something that our bodies are naturally inclined to do in nature, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm a really big believer in that, somewhere along the line, fitness kind of got lost to just a chore. It got lost to things that are boring and dull and tedious and mundane. And yeah, it's like you're saying in nature, we're going to move functionally.
Right.
And it's not just going down the rows of machines. That's something that's very chore-like, and it's dull and it's boring and it's repetitive and tedious, and it's hard to form a habit in those things. And it all comes back to the habit, because the habits that we have are going to form the outcomes of our lives.
Right.
And the way that a habit gets formed is it's just simply behavior that's repeated. And how we choose our behavior it goes all the way down to what influences our choices is what we believe about ourselves. It goes down to our worldview, and our view of ourselves. Because if we have a limiting belief, a view of ourselves that, well, maybe other people can be successful in fitness, but it's just not for me. My family isn't fit. I'm not fit. That's just who I am.
Right.
I can never.
Yeah. And I know a lot of times with entrepreneurs, especially, we sacrifice our health for work, know.
Yeah.
So, like building, you're here all the time. This is your business. So, you have the ability to be able to, work out whenever you want. But for a lot of entrepreneurs, what would you suggest? Like they take the time, if somebody, let's say somebody's like Ninja Warrior, that sounds kind of cool. How would I do, what does a Ninja Warrior workout look like? Or like here, what are you, if somebody comes in and they walk in the door here and they say, how can you help me? I'm an entrepreneur. I work a ton, but I want to make sure that I, am healthy. What would you do?
Yeah. That would be it. First of all, it's awesome that the person is recognizing that they work a lot and it's hard to find time, but they do want to be healthy.
Right.
And that's a huge step for a lot of people, because most people, like you said, they spend their health to obtain wealth.
Right.
And that's coming from an old Buddhist quote.
Right.
That most people will spend their health to obtain wealth. And then, they can accumulate some wealth, but when their health fails, then all of their wealth goes toward recuperating their health.
Right.
And they've never really lived this way.
That's so true.
So yeah, when someone comes in, the first thing that's really important to us is that we can make it less chore-like and more game-like. Because the difference between a game and a chore is not very much. The difference between let's use an example of a child at recess. The child jumping rope at recess, right? And then dreading the jumping jacks in PE. The difference there is nothing physical. It's how it's being perceived, because one is a game and one is a chore. One is simply for repetition, and one is for fun. And the difference between chores and games is not that much, but games do engage and stimulate all of the brain's psychological and emotional motivations. So what we do is we want to find someone's starting point. And so a Ninja Warrior workout, it doesn't have to be all on the obstacles. And it's not all on the obstacles. The biggest factor to getting people introduced to this more fun way of fitness is simply just an intimidation factor. It's a belief that, well, I would have to go and get healthy first.
Right. And then I think that's what a lot of people
yeah.
think, like I can't be running around and jumping on ladders and stuff.
Right.
I can barely bend down and, pick something up and my back hurts.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the biggest, just kind of limiting beliefs and obstacles for us to overcome to be able to get people in and help them engage in this kind of fitness style.
Right.
Because this really is for everyone, and that's how we created it. That's how we designed it. That's how we wanted it. And it's not. We always say that we're not in business for people that can already do what we have in here. Now, so someone that can already do all of it, well, yeah, you can get better and you can challenge yourself and do different kinds of courses and build even more strength and more endurance. But we are in business for people who just haven't really been able to make fitness work for them in the past.
Right.
Because they get bored with it. So we find a starting point for everybody. So the way that our fitness style works, it's called TACFit. So just TAKFIT, TACFit. And what that is it's the combination of body weight exercises with strength training with progressions of the obstacles worked into it. Right?
So progressions, what do you mean by that?
So like a progression, we can use the warped wall. So we've been talking about the warped wall. So a progression of the warped wall, it might be just simply starting with lunges and building muscular postural balance in the body so that explosiveness can happen.
Right.
And then it might be taking it to a push sled. So now we're going to add some resistance. And then we'll do some resistance sprints. And then we're going to learn the technique of the warped wall. We're going to learn safety on the warped wall. And then we're going to keep applying the strength that the person is building through all the progressive exercises to the technique of the obstacle that they've learned. And that's how they start to progress and conquer obstacles. And conquering obstacles is so huge.
Oh,
because
yeah.
It's something that is so different from just tracking progress with pen and paper or just looking at the scale, because the scale is deceptive. It's not really accurate anyway.
Right.
It's not a real accurate reflection of what's really happening in the body. Because when the body moves, muscles contract, become more dense, become heavier. But fat is being burned and lost.
Right.
So
like looking at the scale and say I'm 220 pounds, whatever. Like somebody, I could 220 can look totally different on different people.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So what you're talking about is not looking at the scale as much as looking at movement.
Yeah, so not letting the scale be the measurement of your success,
right? And
not letting it be your worth. I think it's more important that not letting the number on the scale be a measurement of your worth. And I think that's something that's really big. But letting just simply the success of the obstacle. So we have a warped wall in here, starts at 10 feet, and then it goes to 11, 12, 13, 14, even 15.
Right.
So when the person gets the 10 foot for the first time, that's huge, because all of these lunges and squats and push sled and classes and everything that they've been doing, they see that it's moving them in the right direction.
Perseverance.
Yeah, and then they see that it's paying off. And then it's so invigorating, it's so exciting to achieve and to conquer something.
Right.
And that's what is a really big part in keeping people engaged and motivated and consistent, because you leave on like this high of achievement,
right?
And you're always feeling better leaving than when you came in.
Oh, it's always that way. I mean, at gyms, I can imagine, but especially with something like this, if you're trying to conquer something,
right?
It's just not a number on a bench press,
right? It's
more than that. It's like, okay, I couldn't even come close to hitting this wall, and now all of a sudden, I'm doing 10 feet.
Right.
So, and I'm seeing it right here. You can see the 10, 11, 12. Is that a handhold or is that?
Yeah. So you go and get your hand in there.
So you have to run up on it and then get it to the point to where you get your hand in there.
Right.
But people can you get the 15?
Yeah.
Really? That's crazy. That just seems so high.
It is. Yeah. And that, we that's what we hear a lot. They're like, wow, that warped wall seems a lot higher than it does on TV. And we're like,
yes. Yeah. That's just, I just noticed it right now. We were talking about it and then I looked over and it's like,
it is.
But so you have like a bell up there or something?
It's like a little buzzer. So usually like in the city qualifier,
right?
And after the warped wall, you go and you hit the buzzer, and that stops your time. That stops your run.
Right,
so it's just really satisfying to conquer something and then go and hit the buzzer. And then it's just kind of your way of saying, I did it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to we'll take a picture of you over by there.
Yeah.
So when we start putting, because we do like an email and stuff like that and send it out. Cool. So I want to make sure I get some pictures. Yeah. We're gonna take a break real quick.
Cool.
And then we'll come back, and we're gonna have a couple sponsors and stuff like that, and then I want to get into the gym And then I want to get into, you have 2 books.
Right.
So I want people to know about that because you can go on Amazon and they can get them. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, Jason here. Want to take a quick break in the podcast to share with you a little bit about our proud partners and what that means for Albuquerque and Albuquerque business specifically. We have different levels in our sponsorship. We have our media partners, and that's 99.9 The Beat. It's Albuquerque's old school and today's R&B. You hear me talk about that all the time. If you're a business owner, stream 99.9 The Beat. You're going to love it. It's a great way to share something that everybody loves, and that's like 80s and 90s hip hop. It's a not-for-profit, minority-owned radio station here local in Albuquerque, helping the art of music. We also, our other media partner is ABQ Live Magazine. If you're at a brewery, if you're anywhere in Albuquerque, look for it. It's ABQ Live, the magazine. You're going to love the articles that are in there, whether it's the 5 best fish and chips or whatever it is. If you're a foodie, if you want to know what's happening in the nightlife, if you want to know happy hour specials at all the different bars in Albuquerque, ABQ Live, the magazine, is amazing. And there are media partners. We also have visionary partners, which is my marketing and consulting company, Rigby Digital. And a visionary partner is those that help plan for a new future in Albuquerque. Then we have a program of Trailblazer. And Trailblazer partners are committed partners helping lead the way for Albuquerque business. And we want to thank Quality Mazda for that. If you're looking for a new vehicle and you haven't seen the premium features that Mazda has, you can get everything that you would think in Mercedes, BMW, Audi. You can get that in a Mazda, but almost half the price, guys. It's amazing. If you haven't looked at a Mazda here lately, I encourage you to go into Quality Mazda on Lomas Boulevard. The staff is amazing. It's not your typical sales. I wouldn't put a car dealership on my website if I didn't think that it was the best. So I appreciate Quality Mazda. I appreciate the way that they're transparent on it with customers. And I want to thank you guys for supporting these. And then finally, our pioneers. And our pioneers are exploring and finding new ways to chart the course for new business in Albuquerque. And we have a tech company. It's Tartle. So it's tartle.co. Sign up with them. It's free. They want to give you the opportunity to earn money for your data. Facebook, Google, all of them are taking your data for free from you and then using it to exploit back to you advertising. And Tartle.co takes control of that. So you can sign up. It's free, and it's free to earn money, and you get paid for the data that you use online. So I want to thank our visionary Trailblazers and Pioneer for supporting and championing local business here in Albuquerque. So I'll let you guys go back to the podcast. Thank each and every one of you for listening. And we're back with the Albuquerque Business Podcast. We have Garrett, and we're going to do your last name again. You can say it this time.
Okay. Takach.
Yeah, Takach. So it sounds like I think because I just drove right over here, you have like a tactical place next to you. Yeah. So it's kind of like, sounds like really, and it's Hungarian, you said, right?
It is.
So from your family.
Yep.
Well, we got into a little bit about why it's so important to understand when you're working out that it's not a grind.
Right.
And how you can make it not a grind.
Right.
One of the things that you talk about is I know in February you have a class that's coming out. And because I read on your website, I was reading about it, but what is that class specifically?
So that one is our 4-week transformation program.
Right.
And what's really cool about that one is that it is, well, first of all, it's totally free and anyone can come in and just sign up for that, be a part of that. We want to just be able to help introduce people to this style of fitness. And the transformation, it's about an inside out kind of transformation. It's different in the sense that we're not just trying to push you really hard over the 4 weeks. It is going to be a challenge. It is going to be work. You are going to have to push yourself, but more so it's a kickstart into the next few months and coming months and even years. And it's about that inside out transformation of learning how to set goals and achieve goals, because achieving goals really is a skill. And it's a skill that, myself personally, I was never really taught. I think a lot of people just aren't taught that particular skill of setting a goal and achieving a goal and what that really takes. So it's as much mental as it is physical. But if we can really tap in and do a lot of good work on the mental side of things, then that is what's going to create the physical success.
So you're saying mental first, and then and getting into like maybe like a routine where you're coming here and doing and you're seeing the transformation happening.
Yeah, exactly. So
is it how many weeks is it?
It's 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 weeks. And the way that we do it is we have 4 personal development seminars that take place during that. And we talk about goal setting. We talk about how to achieve goals. We talk about how to stop grinding against human nature and start leveraging human nature with the way that fitness is perceived and the way that we do things. We introduce people into group classes. We get them with a personal trainer for a couple sessions. And it's a really full, just all-inclusive kind of package that comes with this transformation program. That's
super cool. And that to me, something like that would seem, and it's crazy that you're offering it for free though.
Yeah.
So do you have where you have to sign up online, or is there a form or something?
So we have a page on our website called 4 Weeks Transformation Program, and all the information is there. But really all that anyone has to do to sign up is just give us a call. Okay. And we'll get them registered.
But I'll put the link in our show notes on the podcast. Make sure we put that on there.
Sounds good.
I think that's awesome. So I want to get into a little bit about, because you wrote 2 books. One's on fitness and the other one's kind of more personal.
Yeah, exactly.
How old were you when you wrote the first one?
So when I wrote the first one when I was 20.
20? Okay. And it's more of like what you were talking about, more of the mental side of things, or?
Yeah. The first book is Obstacles Are Meant to Be Overcome. And I'm just talking about my journey of going into entrepreneurialism and just choosing an entrepreneur path at such a young age, just 18, coming out of high school, just going right into starting a business, and how it is kind of ironic that the business is obstacles.
Yeah,
and
it is
overcoming
100%,
obstacles. And along my entrepreneurial path and journey, there were so many obstacles for myself to overcome.
Right.
To make the business of teaching people how to overcome obstacles be successful. So it's kind of just about that story.
And what do you think, like if you were out there looking at entrepreneurs, especially here in Albuquerque, because, we're in a city that a lot of people look at it as kind of, and I've heard this by a lot of people, is Wild West. You know, it's kind of like still old school.
Yeah.
Like certain families own everything, certain groups of people.
Yeah.
When you started your business at such a young age, was it something that you just said, it wouldn't matter where I was at. If I'm in Dallas or Vegas, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start this business and this is where it's going to, what gave you the mindset to do that?
Well, I think that what it was for me was a mindset of not wanting to settle for anything that falls short of being able to fulfill my passions and live out those passions and just live from that authentic place that those passions are coming from and fulfill those dreams. And it definitely was something where it's like, whether I'm in Albuquerque or anywhere else, this is something that I want to do.
Now, when you say passion, because I want to get into that a little bit, because you have that in your book,
right?
As far as the passion side of things, why are so many people not doing anything? It's like the working out. It's the same thing, correlation.
Yep.
Why are people working a 9-to-5 job or whatever it may be, or maybe they own a business that they hate?
Yeah. And even with entrepreneurs that are, just living from their passions in the business, it's even tough there to not let all of the obligation and the responsibility of creating a business around your passion, of not letting that overtake and overwhelm the passion. But I think that, it's just busyness for a lot of people, and it is the responsibility and, even like the overwhelm of the day to day, even things like Facebook, social media, just being busy and stuff like that prevents a lot of people from living into their passions. It is that busyness, but there's also, there's a really deep factor to all of this emotionally and psychologically. And when we talk about our dreams, when we make our dreams available to other people, when we expose our passions to other people, we do make ourselves pretty vulnerable in that sense, because someone can mishandle your dream.
Right.
There's what I call dream shaming. So for me,
dream shaking.
yeah. So for me, with starting Ninja Park, a place like this,
Right.
I got a lot of pushback, and it was from people who I looked up to. It was from people who cared about me, and that's what makes
Was
it
it
so
mainly
hard.
your age? Like
And
you're too young?
it was
Why you wanted-
my
yeah.
age. The thing with it was that people who cared about me wanted
Right.
me to they wanted me to have success in finances and be able to keep a roof over my head and
Right.
that kind of stuff. And at the point where this was just something that was in my head, that's all it was just a vision, but it was my vision. They didn't have the vision for it, so they didn't understand.
Right.
But yeah, it was me leaving my comfort zone made the people who cared about me uncomfortable. So me being outside of my comfort zone affected theirs.
So, because I have a lot of young entrepreneurs, they'll DM me on Instagram a lot of times.
Yeah.
And they're always talking about, they're looking at doing this or doing that. What would, if you have somebody out there and they're young, you're seasoned business, guy now because you've been in business for so long now. But if they're 18, 19, 20, what advice would you give them?
Yeah. So to people like that, I think that the advice that I would give is to not let the world overtake and cause your passions to be buried inside of you. Because there will be people who care about you, people that are close to you, and that's why it affects us so much. It's not just strangers that we don't know that are just like, hey, yeah, maybe that idea won't work.
Right.
We really wouldn't care. It's people, it's moms and dads, it's teachers, and it's grandparents, it's family, it's siblings, it's close friends that are concerned that it may not work. But that's what I mean by mishandling your dream. When we're opening ourselves up as entrepreneurs and we're sharing our dreams and our vision and our passions and our talents with the world, there will be people that will cause you pain. And when you open yourself up, there will be people that will cause you pain, and they'll mishandle your dream. They'll accidentally, maybe people from good intentions, but they'll accidentally put you down. They'll accidentally discourage instead of encouraging you to pursue that, because it's an impact that you and you alone can make. It's a vision that you and you alone can fulfill. And so I think that the advice would just be to be aware of that, and to be aware that other people may not understand the vision, but that's all right. You have the vision for a reason. And the reason is that it's you who can fulfill it, and you have to do it. Especially like until this place started to exist, be something that you could see and touch. People didn't understand. I got a lot like, well, you just want to work out your whole life, like shouldn't you shouldn't you study, get a job, something?
Right.
And that was people who were mishandling my dream, but they were just looking out for me. They were concerned. They did want.
They were concerned about the risk that was going to be.
They were concerned about the risk. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it all just comes down to comfort. If someone that you care about is willing to live outside of their comfort zone and take risk, well, that would affect your comfort for them.
Right.
And it's something that if you people who just react from that, wanting to protect and preserve their own comfort tend to cause pain to the person who's exposing their dream. And when we feel pain in the place of something that's so precious to us, like our dream and our passion, it's just kind of natural to build up a wall around it and to withhold that. So and try
that's
to guard
crazy.
ourselves.
But I see that all the time. People,
Yeah.
It's like, well, I love to do this or I love to do that, and I'm like, why aren't you doing that? And they're like,
Right.
well, I have this commitment and this commitment and this commitment. That's like what you said. They built a wall.
Yeah, it's like they build a wall up around the dream and around the passion, and it's a way to try to guard ourselves from feeling that same kind of pain, because it's a lot of pain to feel when it's something that's so close and so precious to us, like our passion and our dreams. And I think that that's what leads to settling a lot of times, is something like, well, yeah, I tried out the dream, I tried out the passion. There's a lot of pain, there's woundedness that's associated with that. So I've built these walls around it, and I'm okay with settling for this over here. And whether that's a 9-to-5 kind of thing, or just simply giving up on the dream, or whatever that is, but it is settling,
right?
To not pursue and to not go after your dreams.
And so when we, you look at somebody that may be 20, 21 years old and they have this passion and they're like, oh, okay, cool. I understand that, but like resources, like how do I move, because obviously this ninja park, this thing didn't create itself.
Right.
It required a ton of hard work and grinding. What if somebody has limited resources and they're young?
Yeah. I think that's definitely something that, stops a lot of people in their tracks, is that barrier of, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources,
right?
Kind of thing. My advice is, it's not easy, but it's not supposed to be easy.
Right.
There's so much room for creativity in the face of an obstacle, in the face of a disruption. So the disruption to your dream is like, well, I don't have the resources to build it. Well, creativity flows from disruption. And I learned that from a mentor and a really good friend. His name is George Black. He's the author of The Next Level Entrepreneur. And I write about this with him at livetrulyfree.com on our blogs, on the podcast that he goes on and everything. But yeah, creativity flows from disruption. Disruption, it allows for creativity. Something that is disrupting something is allowing creativity to happen because it forces you to be outside of the box.
Right.
If within the box is where you normally operate, and that's where, inside of the box is like, yeah, well, I would have resources for this, or I would have money for this. Well, you don't. So it forces you to be outside of the box in that sense. It's removing the reference points. And where there are no reference points, there's absolute freedom to create. It would be like an artist trying to create a masterpiece from a canvas that's half painted.
Right.
It's like, well, what the disruption did is it just washed it white. And now you have ultimate freedom to create from that. And there is ways to overcome lack of resources. There's ways to overcome lack of money. So don't let it stop you. With all, I didn't have money to build any of this stuff.
Right.
So, one thing that I did is I partnered with somebody. Another thing I did was my grandfather has in his company a whole machine shop and a wood shop. So, I talked with him about helping me get started as an entrepreneur. We worked out how I would return, what I borrowed and everything. But yeah, there's always a way to overcome the obstacle. The obstacle itself, it's not there to stop you.
Right.
It's there to strengthen you, to grow you into more of the person that you're meant to become, into more of the person who can exist at your next level of life.
That. Yep. That's
otherwise
good.
You would just remain stagnant.
Right. No, I like that. That's so true. I think a lot of people look at creativity as something that is outside of themselves.
Yeah.
When actually it's that, like you said, the disruption that's in you that's creating that. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah. I think the very last piece that I would put on that advice is, and again, this is something I learned from my mentor friend, George Black, but he taught me, when you're faced with an obstacle, when you're faced with disruption, don't ask why. And I think that's so instinctive for a lot of studios. Like, it's like, why? Why did this happen? Or like, why would this be allowed to happen? Or what are it's usually why, and instead to ask the question, what now? Because asking the question why is asking for more understanding. Usually more understanding doesn't lead to anything productive.
Right.
It still happened, and even if you understand why it happened, well, it still happened. But what now kind of forces a more of an outward, like now, like what now? That question invites creativity.
Right.
Into
Yeah.
the situation.
And I like that because it's like, you have to accept what happened.
Right.
And then from there, take responsibility to do what you need to do to, I don't want to, the word fix it may not be right, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I noticed in your first book, you use a lot of scripture and stuff like that. So you're a Christian.
I am.
Yeah. And you go to church here in Albuquerque. Yep. Is that part of having faith in being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
I can tell with some of the things that you say, you can see that. And I think that's awesome. How has faith helped you with being an entrepreneur?
My walk with faith has been pretty interesting. I grew up in something, and kind of a, it was really more religious. It was more of a religion than I grew up in. What I mean by that is it was more, it was the rules made by the leaders of the church that I was taught to follow. And I think not necessarily to invite a relationship with God, with Jesus into my life. And so I kind of moved away from that. And what I thought I could do is I thought that if I can be successful in business and if I can gain status and title, and if I can gain even like fame as an athlete, being on American Ninja Warrior, and if I can buy the things that I want, well, that was my solution. That's how I'm going to live a happy life.
Right.
And the thing was that I was able to do that, and it didn't do what I thought it would do for me. And throughout that whole time, I felt this kind of this pursuit. I was being pursued by Jesus, and he was telling me that I've known religion. I've never really known him, but that he would like for me to get to know him,
right?
And he would like a relationship with me, and it's just that constant pursuit. And finally, there were a lot of really painful things that have happened as an entrepreneur. The dissolution of my business partnership. Things that feel like failures. There's a lot of painful things, and like we were talking about earlier, people who will mishandle my dreams. People who will attack those dreams because we put the dream out there that this is the dream.
Yes, exactly.
This is it, and people can come in and say what they want to say, do what they want to do, but they can cause me pain from being vulnerable and expressing and offering something that's from within myself. And so there has been a lot of that pain, but through that pain, I really felt that pursuit of Jesus, of God pursuing me and wanting a relationship. And
it goes right along with everything you've been saying. Yeah. Even like when you look at working out, like grinding it out. Yeah. It's like how many people go to church because Sunday morning I have to be here. Well, it's like they're working out. It's like they're great. I don't really want to be here, but I'm here because I have to do this. Right. I don't want to be at this job, but I'm here because I have to do this.
Right.
And it's whether it's working out, your work, or it's your religion, whatever it may be. Yeah. I like that. So you were going more in like a relationship based,
right?
And then just doing something, saying, "Look at me, I'm here. I'm part of this network," or whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. And going to church now is something that it's so much different than what I grew up with, because now I go to church to be around other people who are going through the same walk of a relationship with Jesus than I am, and we're there to encourage and strengthen, and exactly. We're just there to soak in the word to restore and refresh ourselves from the battle of just day-to-day life,
right?
And just kind of be in that community.
That seems like, that seems more authentic.
Yeah.
And I think do you think that because of your faith that helped you get through the hard times?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've gone through as an entrepreneur?
Yes, absolutely. I really do. I think that at first the hard times were something that I couldn't overcome on my own. It's something, the hard times are something that Jesus really pursued me in. And now, there's still a pursuit for a deeper relationship, but now it's like, I can get through the hard times. Before, I was kind of operating with my own strength. I was operating out of my own strength. And I felt that I just wasn't able to do that. I just wasn't able to overcome and to operate out of my own strength. And now, overcoming obstacles that I'm facing as an entrepreneur with my faith, with Jesus, is not operating out of my own strength, but operating with him as my ally in things, like with him as my friend. And, I like ally, because ally is like, that's like in a war, right? It's like in a battle.
Right.
And then that's what this feels like a lot of times, is a battle. So Jesus is my intimate ally in this battle.
And that has caused you to win those battles that you face, because I think a lot of people look at the glamour side of things. Like I can walk in and be like, oh, wow, you're 23 and you have a ninja part. And you are on Ninja Warrior. Oh, that looks awesome. All the, but seeing the behind the scenes, all the trials and tribulations and stuff that you've gone through to get and accomplish that's the part I think that sets people apart.
Yeah. Yeah. And something that's really helped is just simply going to Jesus for identity. Because before, my identity was something that was so shakable. So it was something like, if something didn't go the way that I wanted to, or if I made a mistake, or if I experienced a failure and something, well, that was something that would really be easy for me to attach to my identity. It's like, well, I failed in this, so that makes me a failure. And now I'm operating from this core identity of I'm a failure, which isn't even really true. No amount of failing can ever make a person a failure. In fact, failure is part of the process
right,
to success.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was something that was easy to get attached to my identity. And I had to become aware of that. And I had to be aware of, well, what identity am I operating from right now? Am I operating from a false identity? Am I operating from failure? And am I creating more failure because of that? Or am I operating from who Jesus says I am?
I like that. Yeah.
Because that's never condemning. You know, that's never something that is going to be like a negative attachment to my identity. That's always empowering. You know, it's always like forgiven, redeemed, and it's something, and it's things like warrior, conqueror. That's who he says I am.
Yeah,
when I operate from that changes everything.
No, that's awesome. I like that. So whenever you're looking at the future for your business, because we just have a few minutes left, so I want to get into that. Whenever you're looking at the future of your business, what are you looking at? You know, what's the outcome? What is the vision that you have for the next 20 years? I know you want to go on Ninja Warrior again.
Yeah, it's something I'm working on getting back on this year. Yeah, I think the really long-term vision is to continue to teach people how to overcome obstacles mentally and physically within a fun, safe, and a supportive environment. Really, we want to revolutionize fitness. You know, we want to kind of put a halt to this norm of fitness being something that just doesn't work for people. You know, fitness being something that's a chore. We want to stop that and change it to where fitness is fun. And it's something you look forward to doing it. It's something that it's much easier to form habits in, because like we talked about, those habits are going to make up the outcome of our lives. And if we want our outcome to be a healthy lifestyle and just a healthy body, a functional body, if we want to remain independent, well, that's going to come from our daily habits now. So really the long-term vision is to revolutionize fitness so that it's something that people enjoy doing. And it's something that makes it easy for them to stay consistent with the behavior that they need to do to achieve the goals that they want by making it fun. Right.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And are you planning on, like, I know you have these transformation and they're 4 weeks. Are you going to increase those, or is that kind of like your focus? Is that where you're wanting to go in the future? What are you looking at?
That is a really big part of the future. And it's a really big part of what I'm doing right now. I'm giving that a lot of energy and attention for myself, because I really believe in that inside out transformation process, you know, and I really believe that if people's mindsets are in the right place, then the physical results will follow. So
this is totally different than any type of gym that you would go to, because most physical, trainers and stuff like that are not going to focus. I mean, they may mention the mental. Yeah. You may figure it out on your own by doing something really tough or something hard, but focusing on the mental first, that is, I haven't heard that. So
and it's so important and it's so huge, because like a 4-week program that's not focused on the mental side of things, they can push you really hard for 4 weeks. You might get some results, but if you didn't do anything to change your habits by going to and changing behavior, changing choices, and doing that by changing what's really going on in your head and uprooting limiting beliefs and replacing those with positive and true beliefs that serve a productive purpose in your growth into your greater potential. Well, if you haven't done that, then you're going to fall right back into the same way of doing things that led to the outcomes that you were unsatisfied with in the first place.
And that's usually what happens. Like right now, we're experiencing the little boom of gyms because it's January. Yeah. And how long does that last? 20 days? I said, well, everybody should be falling off right now.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't usually make it to February.
Yeah. And so your next class is in February, and they can go on your website.
Yep. So February 20th is going to be the start date of the next one. And they can go on the website and check out.
And what's your website?
There. So ninjaparkabq.com.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Perfect. And they can go on there, and then they can sign up or call. You said just call.
Yeah, just give us a call.
And it's really cool. One of the things we were talking about is if like moms, they can bring their kids here and stuff like that. So that's really cool. having that ability to be able to do something like that. But
yeah,
I think if you're an entrepreneur and you want to look at something where you want to transform and maybe you want to take that next level on the mental side of things, that would be, you can train with a Ninja Warrior. That's
Well, that's what we do. That's what Ninja Warriors do, is overcome and conquer obstacles.
Right. That's awesome.
Right? And that's any obstacle. And that's such a big part of that 4-week program, is learning how to achieve goals, but it's also taking on the mindset of a warrior, because the mindset of a warrior is, I'm thankful for the challenges. I'm not just thankful for all the things that seem to be going right in my life. I'm thankful for the challenge, because I know that that's making me into a stronger person.
Right.
It's like a workout, the concept of growth, right? If you want to grow, or if you want to achieve a different level of success, well, you got to go to the gym and put your body under stress and tension. Right. Well, that's how we grow in all other aspects as well. And emotional, spiritual, relational, grow in our career, whatever it is. We're grown through the stress and the tension.
Yeah. And I think as a business owner, that's what you're used to.
Right.
That stress and tension. So to be able to come to the gym and then have you take the mental aspect of it, I think that would be something that and then to make it fun.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do we really have fun?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, most adults,
fun is like
we lose that.
Yeah, exactly. And we think back to our childhood, like it was so easy to dream. It was easy to imagine ourselves as an astronaut or on an adventure like Indiana Jones, or singing, dancing in front of thousands. But it was easy to dream that, to imagine that. And that kind of gets buried under disappointments, under failures, under obligations and responsibilities. That stuff just starts to get buried. But that's the stuff that brings joy into our lives.
Yes.
We experience joy and freedom by living from our passions.
I like that. So, that's good. And do you have to be in shape to do this program, or?
No, absolutely not. So this program is about learning how to get in shape. And it's definitely not about starting with being in shape.
Because I think a lot of people would look at this. This is, because you're looking at ladders.
Right. Yeah.
And then we're looking at something 15 feet high and all that stuff. So they think like, oh, wow, you're in great shape. But, I'm not even close to the level of, being able to do. So anybody could come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because what they're looking at here in the gym are the final results of things. It would be like looking at a person and be like, well, I can't go to the same gym as them because they look like they're more in shape than I am. And that would just
or
be
a business that's 20 years out that's making
and like
20
comparing
million.
yourself to them, be like, I guess I'm a failure because I'm not doing what this 20-year-old business is doing.
Right, exactly.
And that's just a limiting belief. So we're not in business for the people that can already do this stuff.
Right.
We're in business to help people progress through different fitness levels and find something that works for them. Find a community that they can be a part of. That's something that we just really pride ourselves on, is our fun, safe, our supportive community. It really is a one-of-a-kind community that we can plug people into through the transformation program and find their starting point and start progressing and start having fun, start forming healthy habits that are going to pay off in the long run.
That's awesome. Well, perfect. Well, thanks for being on the Albuquerque Business Podcast.
Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we will put in the show notes, we'll put all the Transformation Week, and then we'll put your website and all that.
Oh, cool.
And social media, and then we're going to get some pictures because I want to get a picture of her by the,
all right.
What do they call that? The Warped Wall.
The Warped Wall?
Yeah. I always think of the Warped Tour for vans or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's funny. Well, thanks. Appreciate it, Garrett.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.